15 shots. 15 misses. Laughter. Then a voice from the back. Any snipers here? A quiet girl steps up with a broken watch, an empty wallet, and a rifle that looks tired. The target sits 4,000 meters away on a dusty road of heat and mirage. She breathes in. The valley holds its breath with her. The road to the range is always dusty. It sticks to boots. It climbs cuffs and settles in the throat. It makes everyone look the same until they speak. Today it covers the new girl's bag and the rifle case on her shoulder. Today it coats the broken watch at her wrist, the one that never ticks. Her name is Sopiha. People don't say it right the first time. That's fine. She doesn't correct them. She keeps walking. The gate hangs crooked. A hand-painted sign says, "Rules are not suggestions." Beyond it, tables, canopies, a row of rifles that cost more than cars. Stainless barrels. Shiny optics. Names etched in metal and pride. The range officer runs the show. Blocky shoulders, sun-creased face. His cap shade hides his eyes. He jokes when he is nervous and barks when he is unsure. Today he chooses joking. He tries a side match to warm the crowd. 15 shots at a distant plate, crosswind, mirage. The valley plays tricks, he misses. Then he misses again. The cadence falls apart. People smirk. Some cough into their fists. One man whistles, it grows. The range officer keeps his grin on like a mask that's too tight. He racks. He sends a 12th shot. 13th, 14th, 15th. White dust kicks behind the plate each time. No ring, no paint chips. Any snipers here? He calls, voice cracked and bright like he means it as a dare and not a plea. He laughs first so the others can follow him. The laughter comes slow. Then it lifts. It climbs into the shade under the canopies. It clings like the dust. Sopiha sets down her case. She opens it. The rifle inside isn't pretty. The stock is scratched. The bolt is clean because it has to be. The scope shows clouding near the edge. But the glass in the middle is clear enough if you know how to look. She knows how to look. She learned with bad glass. Good glass is luxury. Truth sits in the middle either way. Her wallet is empty. She checks anyway like a ritual. Like fishermen who tap wood before the first cast. 2 faded receipts. 1 folded photo. A road too bright to make out. She closes it and tucks it back. The crowd keeps picking at the joke. The range officer keeps smiling. He wants the day to recover. He offers the line again. Any snipers here? Sopiha raises her hand. No one notices. She tries again. A woman with a clipboard notices first. Name? Sopiha. The clipboard woman squints at the sheet. Sign-in was at 8. It's still 8, someone jokes. It's not. The broken watch says anything you want it to say. The range officer waves them both off with a shrug. Let her take a swing, he says. 1 shot. Make the valley clap. A man in a clean jacket mutters. She'll miss like the rest. Sopiha doesn't answer. She doesn't look at him. She looks at the wind. The grass along the berm makes a thin sound. The heat above the road bends like a slow hand. She breathes in. She breathes out. The broken watch is light on her bones. The target is far. Not 4,000 yet. Not even close. A warm-up plate perches on the far hill. White paint. Black smudges. The wind leans left, then relaxes. She dials nothing. She holds with her mind and with the long memory of practice no one saw. She wraps the sling into her elbow. She kisses the stock with her cheekbone. She closes one eye, opens it, closes the other. The reticle settles. The breath leaves. The trigger isn't a switch. It's a door hinge. She pushes it clean. The valley waits for a ring. It doesn't come, not yet. The bullet flies and the seconds stretch. The laughter hangs with it, thin as wire. Then, a new voice on the road behind the gate. Who put that plate at 4,000? Heads turn. The range officer's grin breaks at the edges. The crowd shifts. Something new has rolled in with the dust. The newcomer carries a tripod like a shepherd's staff. His boots are gray with miles. He points past the warm-up hill and toward the far ridge where the road becomes a thread and the haze makes ghosts of stones. You want your show? He says. Set a plate there. 4,000 even. The air is steady on the ridge today. People love big numbers. They repeat 4,000 like a charm. The clean jacket man rolls his eyes yet inches closer. The range officer changes posture. He sees a chance to fix the morning. If the crowd gasps at distance, maybe they'll forget his 15 misses. I'll put a plate, he says. But this isn't a circus. It's a range, the tripod man says. It's both. They send 2 volunteers with a truck. The road is rough. The dust climbs again. It hugs the tailgate, turns the air into fog. Someone brings out a square of AR-500 steel the size of a door panel, heavy as a debt. They paint it white and tie it to a stand with chain. The chains look thin at that distance. Sopiha sits quiet while this moves around her. She strips and wipes one patch from her bolt. She listens to the slope like it is telling a story. She pays attention to the birds that skim the thermals. She tastes the air. Old habits. No one watches the quiet girl until the moment they must. Her empty wallet lies open on the bench. The folded photo is out. The road in the photo is a different dusty road, not this one. A man stands at the middle distance in that picture. You can't see his face. You can just see the tilt of his shoulders, the set of his feet. He had handed her the broken watch years ago and said nothing. It used to tick. Now it holds only weight. The weight helps. It says keep still. The range officer walks down the line to her. The grin is back, fixed up and nailed to his face. You take the shot? She nods. You don't have the glass for that, the clean jacket man says. He wants to be right. He needs it. You don't even have the elevation. She looks him full in the face. Her eyes are calm. I'll hold. The clipboard woman says, buy-in for the 4,000 side match is 50. Sopiha looks at her empty wallet like it might grow something. It does not. The silence becomes a shape. Then the tripod man speaks. I'll cover her buy-in. Why? The range officer asks. Because she listens, the tripod man says. The rest of you talk, grumbling. Money folds change hands. Wagers climb and curl. A few bet on the girl to miss because that is the easy bet. A few keep their bills unbent because they remember strange days that went sideways. They hang the plate. The truck becomes a dot. The Mirage swallows the dot. The valley looks empty again except for that small square of new paint, absurd and stubborn against the far ridge. A kid with a spotter scope asks, what cartridge? Sopiha answers simple. The numbers are boring when you are not the one who must trust them. She dials none of them. She logs them inside instead. Coriolis, spindrift. Drop like a cliff face, you climb down one finger at a time. A breath for the wind at the muzzle. A breath for the wind half a mile out. Another for the wind 2 miles out because valleys don't keep promises. The range officer lifts his voice and the laughter puts itself away. Side match. 1 plate. 4,000. 1 round buys the right to send 3. Make your own math. Any snipers here? Someone shouts again like a reflex. Sopiha stands. The broken watch glints. The crowd hushes. The tripod man nods once and folds his arms. She lays down prone. She builds her position like a small house you can trust. Knees wide, toes flat, sling tight. The stock finds a notch on her collarbone that fits like you were born with it. The reticle climbs and settles, tracing a tiny figure 8. She imagines the plate closer. She imagines it pressed against her palm. She imagines the wind as a thing she can hold and turn. She breathes out. The hinge of the door is smooth again. Pressure climbs. Her finger learns the click as if it has known it all her life. Then a hard voice cuts from behind her elbow. Hold it, the range officer says. We start with me. He walks past, sets up, and shoulders a rifle that could win a beauty contest. I'll show the hold. Then the girl can try. He looks back at the crowd. The grin is loud. Watch and learn. He sends his first at 4,000. Tust moves far short, then drifts left. He sends his second. The stand trembles, but the plate stays clean. He sends his third, and it sails, a high white splash behind the ridge. He lifts, blinks, and paints bravado over surprise. He wants to leave the stage on a line, not a silence. So he says it again. Any snipers here? Sopiha's finger rests where the door hinge waits. She thinks of the man on the road in the picture. She thinks of the empty wallet on the bench, its mouth open like a wound. She thinks of the watch that says nothing and teaches patience. She closes the door. The rifle fires, the valley inhales. The bullet goes. The spotter kid forgets to breathe. The sound dies a long way out. The wind does what it wants. Then the stand shakes. Not a ring, a scrape. The chain complains. The crowd leans as one. It looks like a pillar of smoke. It is not. It is earth and air. It climbs and twists. It steals sight. It eats light. The dot of paint at the ridge turns into a smudge behind a curtain. Hold the line, the range officer says. The order sounds official and thin. He is not in control of this, no one is. The valley is making its own choices. The dust devil drifts right, then back. Little pebbles tick against boots. Someone laughs, but it is a small laugh with no teeth. The kid with the scope blinks grit and keeps fighting his focus. He wipes the lens with his sleeve and makes it worse. Sopiha stays prone. She does not lift her head. The devil will pass. The wind always stops to breathe. When it does, you must already be ready. She tucks the sling deeper into the crook of her elbow. She lets the stock press a bruise she will carry home. She counts slow in a voice no one hears. The range officer watches her patience the way a man watches a fuse. He wants her to hurry so he can be rescued by a spectacle. He wants her to miss so the world remains simple. He wants both and he knows it. Someone sidles close with an offer. "I've got a real scope in the truck," he says low. "Swap it, little sister." Elevation for days, she shakes her head. "I'd have to learn your glass. I don't have days." He shrugs and vanishes back into the shade. The dust devil weakens. Its spine breaks. It flutters and then it is gone, undone by its own spinning. The line exhales in relief. The air becomes a soft hand again. The far plate sharpens to a square. "You still up?" the tripod man asks. Sopiha nods. She cycles the bolt. The motion is smooth freight. She returns to the reticle. The Mirage then is not a lie but a language. She reads its slant at the rifle. She reads its sigh at the hill. She reads its secret at the ridge. She presses. The door swings. A second bullet goes. The valley stretches the seconds until the day feels thin. The spotter kid clenches his jaw to stop talking to himself. The stand rocks. The chain shakes. The plate stays white and smug. On the third, the wind stutters. She adjusts a breath width. She sends. Silence. The white square takes a breath no one sees. A tiny black tick appears near its bottom left. It is not a full chip. It is not yet a story you can sell. But it is there, a polite knock on a far door. The line murmurs. Someone says luck. Someone else says no. Now people are paying her the right kind of attention. Quiet attention. The kind that carries weight but does not shout. She rolls her shoulders without lifting her cheek. She looks at the broken watch and sees only the scar of a crack across the face like a road on a map. She remembers a day she stood on a different cut of earth and listened to a different wind. She remembers what this is for. She rises to her knees and checks the magazine like it might have changed. The empty wallet glints in the sun on the bench, a mouth still open, still asking. The range officer clears his throat. Side match rules say 3 rounds a turn, he calls. If the lady wants a second turn, she'll need another buy-in. The tripod man shakes his head and holds up the bills. Covered. That's not the game, Clean Jacket says. Can't keep feeding her chances. The clipboard woman flips a page. The game is whatever we wrote. We wrote money talks, it's talking. Grudging nods. Stakes multiply like quick shadows. Pride joins cash on the table. The kid with the scope whispers a number to himself that sounds like a prayer, and also like science. Sopiha lies down again. The world narrows to a small circle of glass and a larger circle of will. The 4,000 plate is the same size as before. It feels closer now only because she has touched it once. Touching a thing makes it yours in a way. The wind shifts a hair. She moves a hair with it. The trigger waits. The door wants to swing and she lets it. Her rifle gives a thin click. Not the click she wants. Not the hinge. A different click. The wrong click, the firing pin didn't fall. A dry click is lonelier than a miss. A miss is a story. A click is a room no one wants to be in. Heads tilt along the line. The range officer steps forward without smiling. Clear it, he says. She does. She feels the bolt. She listens for metal that doesn't sound right. It all sounds like metal. The valley offers no advice. The broken watch holds its crack like a thin smile. Bad luck, Clean Jacket says, bright with relief. Happens. The tripod man studies the bolt face from a step away. How long since you changed a spring? She doesn't answer. The truth is a number she doesn't want to say out loud. The empty wallet on the bench answers for her. She pulls the bolt. The world shrinks to 2 parts and a pin the size of a thorn. She has tools. A rusted multi-tool. A banded rubber. A small wish. She breathes. She remembers hands that taught her to keep spares in places no one sees. She does not have spares. The hands that taught her belonged to a man who had more time to teach than money to give. He gave the watch instead. It was whole then. Want my rifle? Someone offers, almost kind. She shakes her head. New rifles speak a new language. She doesn't have time to learn a new mouth in a new storm. She looks at the dust along the mat. She looks at the road in the photo. She looks at her own hands and finds them steady. She strips the firing pin assembly on the mat. The parts look like a spill of night. One tiny spring bows with age. She stretches it a whisper, the way you stretch fate and hope it doesn't notice. She puts it together slow, with quiet that feels like reverence. The hinge of the door belongs to her again if she believes it does. The range officer watches with his arms folded tight in a way that holds himself together. The crowd pulls closer and then pulls back because closeness would feel like pressure, and pressure feels like theft. She seats the bolt. It slides home with a sound like a well that still has water. She runs it once, twice. The click is gone. The hinge is back. She looks through the glass. The plate stares back. The wind has moved. You can't repair time you spent fixing a spring. You must pay it with better attention. She dials nothing. She holds memory and math in the same hand. She presses. The rifle speaks. The bullet leaves and the seconds tie themselves into a knot that won't slip. The spotter kid finds the plate at the high edge of his magnification. He whispers, "Come on," but no one hears it. The ring arrives late. It doesn't ring like a bell. It coughs like old iron. But it is a hit. It is clean paint turned into a story. The crowd breaks into sound, not laughter, not mockery. Sound that rises because it wants to. The range officer swallows. He looks at the far ridge as if it might forgive him. He looks at the quiet girl and finds his voice in a smaller size. "Two more to make it, Art," he says. She racks. She sets, she sends. The second hits a half-breath higher, just at the chain. The plate wobbles like a tooth. The third comes smooth and lands like it wanted to live there. 3 marks spaced like a sentence with careful commas. Silence then, because people are counting what they thought they knew and what they just learned. Someone near the back says, almost laughing, almost crying, "Who is she?" No one answers. The broken watch gleams. The empty wallet says nothing. The dusty road in the photo ends where roads end, at a horizon that doesn't admit it is a wall. The range officer steps forward. He is different now. Not smaller. Maybe just true. "We should stop," he says to her. "Keep your legend clean. Walk out on a high note." Sopiha shakes her head. "The plate hangs," she says. "It wants a fourth." "It does?" The tripod man asks, voice dry. "It does," she says. And the way she says it makes the wind go still for a heartbeat, like it is listening. She chambers. She settles. She closes the door. Sirens. Not on the range. On the road beyond the gate. Closer than they should be. Red and blue light smears across the gate like wet paint. 2 county trucks. Dust in their teeth. A deputy climbs out fast enough to stumble and doesn't. He looks scared, which is worse than angry. "Anyone here with eyes on that ridge?" He shouts. He sees the line of scopes. He sees the plate new hung in white. "We've got a hiker lost behind it, no radio. We've got a ping, but it's weak. We need a mark. We need—" He stops when he hears himself begging. The range officer steps toward him, hat in hand for once. "We can spot," he says. "We can range. He turns to the line. His eyes find the quiet girl before he knows they were looking for her. "We can put steel on a point for the helicopter." The deputy nods too fast. He points to a contour map that looks like a hand-drawn lie. He jabs a finger at a fork in a wash that could be any wash on Earth. "He's somewhere in here. If we can see the flash, they'll fly to it." "Pyros?" the clipboard woman asks. "Negative. Fire risk," the deputy says. "No flares. But if you can make a sound big enough." He trails off. The plan is thin. The day is thinner. The range officer looks at the 4,000 plate and then at the far wash. "You put paint on the plate," he says to Sopiha, as if he is asking permission to believe in what he saw. "Can you put a ring on that bend?" "That's not a plate," Clean Jacket mutters, weak again but still himself. "That's dirt. Dirt sings too when you hit it right," the tripod man says. The crowd shifts from show to work. The jokes fade into purpose. They pull targets on stands from a back shed like skeletons found ready for use. Someone sprays 2 panels white while walking toward the gate. The deputy argues into his radio and loses and tries again. Sopiha stands. She picks up her empty wallet and sets it down again because it no longer matters. She tightens the sling and then thinks of the helicopter, the pilot, the noise. She thinks of a man lost behind the ridge 2 miles beyond a number they've been saying like a hymn. She thinks of the broken watch and how sometimes you do not need a tick to keep time. You just need to feel when a second is full. They drive a target panel out on the dusty road. It swims and reappears through Mirage. The sun leans west, weighing everything down. The helicopter arrives low, fast, a dragonfly made of stubbornness. It circles where the deputy points. You can't hear your own plans over its rotors. The range officer doesn't say, "Any snipers here?" This time, he doesn't need to. Everyone knows the answer. He just says, make it talk. Sopiha builds her house again at the mat. The plate is gone from her mind. The panel at the wash is new and nearer to the hiker and more important. The vector is different,